On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I am pleased to give an update on Nash County for 2021. Year 2021 has been very much like 2020, as our unknowns and challenges have continued, as we all know. The name COVID-19 will have to be renamed to COVID-19, COVID-20, COVID-21, COVID-22, and that's as far as we know at the current time. This worldwide pandemic has allowed Nash County to show just how great of a county that we live in. Our Board of Elected Officials, our administrative team, and our employees have stood up to the ever-changing task at hand very well. They have kept our 96,000 residents very well informed with the latest information, and they have remained open in all departments to provide the needed services, and that is greatly appreciated by the board. It has been a year of change, many changes. First of all, back in July, we lost a sitting commissioner when Mary Wells passed away while serving in office. She was replaced by our newest member, Gwen Wilkins, who was recommended by the Democratic Party of Nash County and appointed by the Nash County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Arrington completed his first year on the board after being elected to District 1 seat formerly held by the retiring Lou Richardson. The Board of Commissioners selected Stacy Satzler for our next county manager to replace the retiring Z. Lamb after serving the county for 8 years. Our Emergency Services Director, Brian Brantley, retired in September after serving the county for more than 36 years. County Manager Z. Lamb at the time, with the full blessings of the Board of Commissioners, appointed Scott Rogers, our Deputy Director, as our new Director. In 2021, we also lost our elected Register of Deeds, Ann Melvin, unexpectedly while in office. The Board of Commissioners appointed Sandra Davis, the Deputy Register of Deeds, after receiving her recommendation from the Nash County Democratic Party to complete this term. The county also lost a member of our law enforcement family, Captain Carlos Ricks, who had a medical emergency on April the 8th, 2021. Captain Ricks served nearly 25 years in our Sheriff's Department and was set to retire most likely sometime this year. Another department head change happened in Veteran Services as Tyler Staverman left in 2021 to take another position. This position was quickly filled by Anthony Rogers, another employee of the department, which continued the trend of Nash County attempting to promote employees within with each opening we have. Another change in 2021 was it was a year for redistricting. The county's 7 commissioners' districts had to be redistricted to balance the population to within 5% of each other. This was done by a consultant we employed, and the new maps were approved by the Board of Commissioners prior to the deadline without too much fanfare. We also created a new department to be called the Communications Department, and our very own Jonathan Edwards was named our first Director of Communications. Definitely a year of change. I'd now like to go over some capital projects. We are very proud as a board of what we've been able to accomplish the last 10 years, quite frankly, and maybe even more, about capital projects in the county. The Northern Nash Water System was completed phase 1. With the exception of a few minor items and completion of the project punch list, construction of phase 1 of Northern Nash Water System was completed in the fall. This work included construction of a 250,000-gallon water tank at the Red Oak Middle School and the installation of approximately 50 miles of water main, construction of a new master meter vault, and the acquisition of 2 existing wells in the counties. At present, we have installed nearly 1,100 water services and are actively serving approximately 520 water customers in that district. Total construction cost for phase 1 was $7.7 million. In addition, the Public Utility Department is finalizing plans for an additional $1.2 million in the district and have begun the process of identifying areas that may be served in the future phase of this planned project for the 4th quarter of 2022. Another project we completed was the Middlesex Corporate Center infrastructure. That is down at Middlesex, and is our industrial park down there. In 2021, we installed 8,250 feet of water main, 3,200 linear feet of sewer main, another 250,000-gallon elevated water tank, 3,350 feet of roadway into the park. Total construction cost associated with Phase 1 was $2.9 million. Due to the interest in the Middlesex Corporate Center, the county initiated plans for Phase 2 in late 2021. Phase 2 will include constructing the remaining 3,600 feet of roadway to connect to US 64 alternate and development of a sewer master plan for the entire 430 acres located within the park. Another great achievement was completed in 2021 was the Miracle Park in the Coopers area near Coopers Middle School. In addition to opening the county's first regional park, which we opened in May, the county completed work on an 1,800 square foot concession building located in the park. The building also includes separate bathrooms to accommodate those with special needs that attend the park and enjoy the county's all-accessible playground. And I encourage the citizens that haven't been to that park to take time to ride out sometime. It's a very impressive park, and we're pleased to have it in Nash County and to have the playground that was put in there, which would accommodate all of our children within Nash County, particularly those that have special needs. Conversations are also underway currently regarding the possibility of moving forward with Phase 2 improvements at the park to provide additional amenities such as dog park, a discus golf course, and other outdoor activities that would enhance the utility of the park for county residents. We also completed an Elm Street storm drainage project back here behind our building. We had aging and failing storm drainage system back there with large pipes in it that were occasionally caving in from time to time. It was in our parking lot and also located in Elm Street. We co-partnered with the town of Nashville and were able to get grant money to complete most of that project. The total cost of the project was a little over $1 million, and we received $500 from Golden Leaf, recovery fund money from Hurricane Matthews. We also received about $500,000 from a community development block grant. The next project that we worked on throughout 2021, and we continue to work on it, even though we completed 2 phases with our countywide broadband project. This is a project that the Board of Commissioners is very passionate about. We need broadband throughout the county, and when we need it for people that now work from home, which is probably 4 times more than it used to be. We need it for our students in school. And I promise you, we work every month at trying to move this along. It is a little slower project than what we anticipated it to be, but we are not allowed to do it on our own as a county. We are allowed to co-partner with a private firm, and we chose 3 years ago to join with Cloudwise out of Wilmington, and we're doing all we can to move that along. A lot of it is in service at this time, and it does very well, quite frankly. I have the privilege of having it at my new office in the Dorchester community. But we still got a long way to go to get it throughout the county, and it is an ever-evolving process, and the manner in which you do it changes. It seems like Commissioner Outlaw every time we meet Commissioner Combs, but believe me, it will be done eventually, and we'll be very proud when we have at least 90% of the county covered. Charters of Freedom. If you hadn't been over our courthouse in a few months, the county signed a letter of intent with Foundation Forward in late 2019 to install a replica of the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights in Nash County. Although the pandemic delayed the project, construction began in June of 2021 in front of the Nash County Courthouse, and the work is about 95% complete, particularly for those that are history buffs, and quite frankly, anybody in the county. We certainly invite you to go over and visit that. It's a very impressive structure, and it was done by a group with basically no cost to the county, and they are trying to put that in all 100 counties located in North Carolina. Those are the projects that we completed or came mighty close to completed in 2021. In 2021, and we also have numerous projects that we are beginning to move forward on. The first one is an animal facility project. We have known for quite a while we needed to replace our animal, and I don't like to use the word pound, but our animal shelter, which we have had for many years. And fortunately, we received a grant from an individual that helped us move that project quite a bit up on our capital improvements project. We have a committee that works on that, private citizens. We have a group of ladies that have helped us quite a bit and met with us each time, called the Animal Crackers. They have been in existence for quite a while. And we went through a naming process, and the Board of Commissioners will be actually certifying this name very soon. But the name that was picked by the committee that's working on it, primarily the representative from the donor of the funds and these ladies, was Nash County Pet Connection Center. I hope you like the sound of that. We wanted something that sounded nice. We wanted something that sounded friendly to the pets, and we just want to have a good feel when you go in there. And I do believe you'll be very impressed once you see you can't really see the plans up there now, but it will be completely different than one that you've seen around here in quite a while. And it will be very friendly to adoption of those animals that may be housed there. We located on the property next door to Nash Community College for a purpose. We were able to obtain a piece of land there that we bought, rather large piece of land, and it will be utilized for this, about 5 acres, and then the rest of it will be used for any addition that Nash Community College may have in the future. Very well located, and we have a vet tech program that we started about 3 years ago at Nash Community College, and the main reason for joining up with the college and putting it there is it will serve a dual purpose of giving those students somewhere to have animals close by, to be able to do their in-house training, and it will also help the county by having available those students or interns that would help us maintain the cost of operating that center. So please look forward to that. And we hope it will be bid out most any time now, and hope to have it completed right near the end of the year. We also undertook the detention facility renovations and expansion. You heard quite a bit of that, about that the last couple of years. With the assistance of Mosley Architect, the county completed design and construction plans for a 17,000 square foot addition to the Nash County Detention Center that will include high security lockdown cells with 94 additional beds. The renovation of 12,000 square feet within the existing facility to provide an improved intake, booking area, nurses station, detention staff locker room, which we've never had, and a female segregated unit. The project will also include the renovation of existing open concept dorm number 1 to provide additional lockdown cells with 27 beds for male inmates. The county anticipates using a small amount of $1.7 million of our $18 million American Rescue Plan funds that the county received to fund this portion of the project, or the renovation of the dorm. We could not do the new part with it, but we could certainly do renovations with it. Work began on the project in the fourth quarter of 2021 and is expected to be completed in February of 2024. The construction bid was awarded to Daniels & Daniels in August of 21 at a total cost of $17.6 million. And that is the same firm that did the addition to the courthouse, and we're very familiar with that part of Nashville, so I hope it will go very well. Another project that we began in 2021 that the Board of Commissioners and our school board is very excited about is the replacement of 3 elementary schools in Nash County with the Red Oak Elementary School. And that's a name that was picked by our school board. It will replace the Red Oak Elementary School, the Swift Creek Elementary School, and the Cedar Grove Elementary School. Nash County Public School Systems worked with Oakley Collier Architects to design the new building and awarded the contract this past year to HG Reynolds out of Henderson, North Carolina at a total cost of $16.8 million. It is reported at the end of December about 90% of the concrete was poured. The steel has been delivered, which is very hard to get this day and time, and quite a bit of that is up, but the project currently is about 23% complete based on the billings that we have received for it. So we're very excited to do that, get a significant number of our children out in the rural county into a brand new school that has a lot better security, a lot better internet capabilities, and just much more modern and what we found was that the maintenance cost on the 3 older schools had reached a point where we were spending more money on maintenance for those schools than what the debt service would be, since we were able to get a $10 million grant from the lottery system, which paid, as you see, a little over half the project. But time we get through, I'm sure we'll have $20 million in it. The next project that's going to be done with the school system is a new Northern Nash field house. As you see here, Northern Nash opened in 1966. I was there in the 9th grade, but that's the only high school we have left in the county that does not have an adequate field house, and we're very pleased to be able to work with the school system to get that done during the coming year. We have already put about $750,000 into that project, and we anticipate we'll be putting probably another $1 million in it before the year's out or in next year's budget. But it'll be a big improvement, and it'll be located on the opposite end from where the field house is now, and it will pretty much replicate what we did a few years back at Southern Nash High School. COVID grant projects, we had some money early on in the COVID grant, and we had to spend quite a bit of it, but in that we awarded 900,000 community development block grants money, and in that we used 3 components. $405,000 were for assistance payments to our residents that had maybe lost employment and needed some type of assistance with utilities or anything else that was applicable that could be used for under the grant. We also are spending $322,000 to create Wi-Fi zones, and they have been done in strategic areas of public buildings and parks and various places throughout the county that were selected by a committee to put those in. And then we are spending about $83,000 locating hand washing stations in various options. And what the Board of Commissioners has learned, when we get these grants, particularly the COVID grants, they're very narrowly focused on what we can spend those funds on. And we are pleased that we have a staff that keeps us in line, and what we want to do is when they come back and audit us in 4 years about where these funds went, we want a very clean audit. And I feel certain standing here today that we will get one that the staff we have in place. But those are the projects that we have underway this year. And again, I think it speaks very highly of the county and the board to be able to continue to do capital improvements at a pretty fast pace, much faster than you've seen in Nash County before. And at the same time, leave ourselves in what I consider to be excellent financial condition. Our current fund balance in Nash County, talking about our financial condition, is $46.8 million. Our unassigned fund balance is $24 million. And you may think that's a ton of money, but I can assure you, and I always use the example, you've heard me do it before, but after Hurricane Floyd, we were in just as good a shape proportionally in Nash County, and we spent about 67% of our fund balance to get us through that storm. Quite a bit of it was reimbursed, but it took 3 to 4 years to get that money back. And this Board of Commissioners, as well as the Board of Commissioners before us, and hopefully the ones in the future, will always be very sensitive to our fund balance and make sure that we have an operating bank or rainy day fund that will carry us for a very long time, much longer than most counties throughout the state. We're very proud that we had a very balanced expenditure, balanced in that schools received 23.5% of our funding. Our human services received 25.2% of our funding, and our public safety received 28.6% of our funding. And Sheriff, I think that's the first time public safety out of those 3 groups received the most funding. So we're doing our best to look out for public safety as well. That's a total of 77.3% of our total revenue for the county is spent in those 2 categories. So we run everything else in the county, or 5 other different areas, on the 22.7% that is left. The fascinating thing that the Board of Commissioners, as well as our staff, is very proud of is our collection rate for 2021 was 99.16%. Pretty much unheard of for a county to be able to collect funds at that kind of rate. We've also gone back and collected quite a bit of old funds during that time, but we are very, very proud of our tax department for the great job they do over there. Our former manager had that as a priority, and we moved up during his time about 6% in collection rate, and we will also challenge our new county manager to hopefully be able to keep that. I don't know how it can go up much higher, quite frankly, but I've said that to Mr. Lamb every time, and every year he was here, he moved it up a little bit more. So that's something that we're very proud of. Our tax rate, with all the capital improvements that you saw, and I think we have been able to do quite a bit for our employees as well, we've been able to keep it 67%. And this is the 12th year in a row that we've maintained that same tax rate. And this board is very committed to keeping our tax rate the same. And I'm so committed, I hope one day we'll be able to move it back down some more. But you just don't, you have to say that real careful around staff over here, quite frankly. The reason we were able to do these things, just highlighting a few things, is our sales tax for 2021 went up 7%. Or it went up about $1.2 million from the year before. Our property tax went up 3.8%, which is about $2 million. Our real estate transfer tax went up an amazing 61%. And Mayor Robertson, I know quite a bit of that was in Rocky Mount, quite a bit of it was all over the county, but for you to have real estate transfer tax of 61% increase, there's a lot of movement going on with people throughout the county and buying new houses, a lot of people coming in to the county, but that's a very small percentage of what you pay for a house, you pay to the Register of Deeds when you file those deeds to be put on record. But the total increase in tax collection in just those three categories was 6.6%, or actually $4.5 million. So that's the reason we're able to do the things that we are doing. Our unemployment rate was down 2.4% for the year from the year before, or down to 6.5%. And what's amazing to me and the rest of the board is all of this was done in spite of COVID and what we're dealing with. I'm going to keep moving to try to speed up just a little bit and hit some miscellaneous items. In January of 2021, President Biden announced the American Recovery Plan. Nash County will receive well over $18 million in recovery money. The administration staff have formed a committee to handle how this money will be spent, and the county has employed 2 staff members to be certain the funds will be spent properly. Again, both of these 2 staff members that have the charge of looking after these funds were inside promotions, and again, we're always glad to do that. Nash County incentivized our employees to get vaccinated, trying to keep all of our people at work each and every day to look after the citizens. And the committee set a goal of 70% is what we wanted to obtain, and all of our employees worked very hard, and actually in December, just at the last minute almost, we did obtain that 70% vaccination rate, which is, I think, a great compliment to our staff and to our employees. And we do realize many people prefer not to take the vaccine, and for medical reasons sometimes, but 70% rate, we were very pleased to get it to that, and I think it's shown up. Of course, we've had a lot of our employees sick with it, and we had a high a few weeks ago, I think, of 64 out there in 1 week, and it's going back down again. We were very pleased to say. The Nash County also signed a memorandum of agreement for the historic Opioid Settlement, and will be receiving $5.45 million of these funds over the next 18 years to provide services to our citizens for substance abuse disorder. And for those that are affected with that, like many of us are, it is a very pleasing thing to see a lot of emphasis put on that, and for the drug companies that may have been a little loose with their standards to be assisting us with helping those that actually need the help the worst, and there are quite a few of them. In June, our Senior Citizen Center celebrated its 20th birthday. There is a place in our hearts for our senior centers in Nash County, I will tell you from the Board of Commissioners. We also had our largest United Way campaign for our employees and board members, that we have ever had, over 10% above last year. The great thing is, while we were helping others in Nash County, we had a lot of fun and enjoyment during the very well thought out campaign. Many things that the staff came up with to make it fun, and we are very proud to say we have increased our funding level to United Way for numerous years in a row now. The Board of Commissioners, still trying to look after their employees, did approve this year did authorize and approve funding and contracted for a comprehensive pay study for all county employees. This study should be completed, is well underway, and to be able to assist us in our 2022-23 budget year, which we'll begin working on sometime in March. And we do expect to have that study completed in time to be able to address what it brings forth to us in the new budget year. The county is also very pleased at the record number and dollar amount the DOT roadways projects underway in Nash County. If you ride around the county, you see a lot of work going on our DOT projects. That's a pretty fascinating picture right there, and to even think it's in Nash County, but that's the Eastern Avenue, Sunset Avenue between Nashville and Rocky Mount, and it's right there on the left side is a new interchange that will be on I-95 on the Sunset Avenue, a project that has been worked on by many people over the last 5 or 6 years, and it finally got funded. And the 4-laning of Eastern Avenue, Sunset Avenue between Rocky Mount and Nashville, going out by the Nash Community College and coming into Nashville there by Walmart, which is, you get some inconvenience right now, but it'll be a different look for what we're used to in Nash County. I heard somebody say earlier, Cephas, that maybe some people didn't like roundabouts, but I think there will be 5 on that stretch between Rocky Mount and Nashville. I hope we can adjust to them. They will all be well lighted, and it just moves traffic a lot better according to DOT. And when we built the one at Nash Community College, Board of Commissioners caught quite a bit of comments by it, but I really think now that people have learned how to use it, it was the right thing to do. It moves people in and out of the college well, and after big events, we'll also have one over on Old Carriage. And that project that was let was $60 million, and that's probably one of the largest projects we've had in Nash County. And now just last week, there was another $20 million project awarded for the Old Carriage Road to improve it from Eastern Avenue over across 64, and you will have another roundabout there at the community college in the main entrance to it. And in numerous other places up at Gold Rock, the work has just been started to put a complete new interchange at Gold Rock as you come off an I-95 into Highway 4, and that was moved up in funding as well because of the intermodal that was recently opened over just into Rocky Mount as you go straight into 4. Just across the railroad tracks, you saw all that work going on over there. So we're just very fortunate to have that much work going on improving our highways in Nash County. It's the most of any time that I can remember. The county also is in the process of renegotiating a new lease for the county-owned hospital, Nash UNC. We are very pleased that the ratings for our hospital has improved greatly over the last 2 or 3 years. This lease negotiation should be completed in early 2022. We hope to do it by the end of 2021, but we're getting real close. And it will probably cover us for the next 30 years in our operating agreement with the hospital and the properties that the county owns out there, and the hospital leases from us to totally run by another board. Economic development is a very big item for this Board of Commissioners, and you have seen that we took the initiative a couple of years ago. Last year was our first completed year to take that development process back under the wing in a department for the county. It's a decision that we did not take lightly, but we felt like it was a time, looking back at what we had been able to do in years past, to move it in there, move it back under the county, and quite frankly, it is doing very well. We knew it would take a couple of years to get it ramped up, but this past year, we are pleased to say, we thought it was a good year. We had total new jobs of 303. We had total new investments of $142 million. Notable projects were the Cummins diesel plant, which had a new investment of about $100 million. And that's a huge investment at one plant for us. And they revamped quite a bit of the existing plant, and it was the same number of jobs. But when you do reinvest like that, a lot of your equipment and so forth may have already been depreciated out on our tax rolls, but it starts back over at that point in time and helps us keep that rate lower. The capital expansions, we had the Crump Group from Canada purchase the CP building up at Universal Leaf, and they will be there out of Canada. They will be bringing 160 new jobs and will be invested about $20.5 million in upfit of that facility. That is a company that produces pet food for numerous animals, and they will also be using quite a bit of a product. And I think the reason we got them in Nash County was because a lot of the food they make is centered around the sweet potato industry. So that probably helped us get that there. And as we heard about how important our farming operation is in Nash County from a previous speaker, we're very pleased to be able to bring them here, which should help our farmers that produce those sweet potatoes. But the next item that we were able to accomplish is the shell building that we built in Middlesex a couple of years ago. We've been trying to put a company in there, and I'm very pleased to say that it is now under contract. We have a new company that is moving out of Wake County there, Cinevatech. It's purchasing the shell building in Middlesex. They're bringing 50 new jobs, and they are spending $10.1 million in new investments in that building. The projects we are working on for a total, and you hear this quite a bit, and I won't just explain what this is, but our economic development teams currently have 85 projects that they are speaking to people about. Out of the 85 projects, it is a total of 16,000 plus jobs and a total of about $6.4 million worth of investments. Now, I do want to explain to you that that doesn't mean we're going to get anywhere near all of those jobs or all of that investment. But I think it does show, and the reason I would even mention it, that we have a lot of activity in Nash County, and we're very pleased with the team we were able to put together, and they do a fantastic job of meeting with those. It's a very competitive field that they work in, but I promise you, out of that list of jobs and investment, there will be some of them landing in Nash County. And this Board of Commissioners has been very eager to help that team in any way we can and listen to any project that they bring to us. And we get a report each month. That seems to be getting a little longer each month. In our new business development, we're also very strong out in the county. We have a new Bojangles at the Spring Hope 64 interchange, future I-95. Very pleased to get that down there after many years of trying to bring a few more things along our interstates in Nash County. It is built and should be opening soon. We have purchased an additional 94.7 acres of land at the Middlesex Industrial Park, and we already have about half of that under contract to build a new distribution center, and that's just something we're working on. They have put the land under contract and they're doing due diligence now, and of course, if all that works out, we would certainly hope to be getting that distribution center there. Since we have sold our existing shell building and have it under contract, we have funded and will start a new shell building immediately. We said as soon as we sold that one that we would be putting an oven up right beside of it just like it. We're also working with the town of Nashville, and we'll be building a new shell building in Nashville in conjunction with them. And what we're waiting on there is for the paperwork to be completed with the town of Nashville to join our organization in the industrial recruitment business. And then we have committed to put that shell building up at one of their industrial parks, probably the one that's closest into town. The largest growth in total assessed value, which I gave you those a while ago, in property tax has been in new home construction. In 2021, there were a total of 643 new homes built in Nash County. Those new homes include modular homes as well as manufactured homes, and they include what was in the city of Rocky Mount and all the other municipalities, as well as what is out in rural county. And by far, the most of those was in the rural area of Nash County and not located in our largest city. But I'll tell you, 643 new homes, including stick-built and modular, is a very large number. And the total value of that is, according to what the contractors gave when they filed to get permits is $110 million in tax growth. $110 million is a very large increase, and I will tell you, being one of them, sometimes contractors may not give you the, how can I say this correctly, but they might not give you what that home actually costs to build, and then our assessors will go in later. So I do know that number will be much larger than that in total assessed value, and particularly with the growing prices of home construction like it has been. And in addition to the new homes that have already been built, there are over 1,000 additional lots throughout the county that were approved in 2021, so we do expect many more to come. It is a challenge to do that amount of growth in a year and do it properly and do it with something that the whole county and the whole county board will be proud of when it's all done, and that's why we are doing our land development code over at this point in time. And we're doing our best to catch up with that growth. So I do think you'll see us finish that project up, hopefully about mid-year, and we'll have a new set of standards that we'll be working for. I would just say in short that our new economic development team, quite frankly, is hitting on all cylinders, if I could use a racing term. Moving into, I chose to highlight 3 departments this year in our state of the county, and they are in our health and safety field, quite frankly, primarily because of what they dealt with in dealing with COVID. The first department I'd like to go over a few facts with is our sheriff's department. Completed a file review of 168 standards and an on-site assessment as part of our initial CALEA assessment. We expect to be fully CALEA accredited by April the 1st, 2022. This will be one of only 10 sheriff offices in the state of North Carolina to have that CALEA accreditation. I, of course, do not know that much about it, but I know it is very intense, and I've heard quite a few of the employees that have worked on that tell some of the things that they have had to do to get that certification, and we certainly appreciate our sheriff for that initiation to get that done. It would be nice to be able to say we're one of 10 out of 100 sheriff's departments to have that. Implement a co-respondence program in partnership with Trillion Health Services, where trained social workers respond to calls for services at the request of law enforcement to help provide needed resources to citizens such as housing, mental health, and many other things. Medication-assisted treatment program in the detention center was relaunched in December of 2021. When you have someone incarcerated, one thing you do need to do is you need to be able to provide the medicines that they need, because a lot of our incarcerated people, unfortunately, have some mental health issues, as we have known for a long time. Completed advanced driver training for all of our sworn personnel in August of 2021 via a partnership with the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and by using their driver's track as well. So we greatly appreciate the North Carolina State Highway Patrol and allowing our sheriff's department and assisting our sheriff's department in that advanced training. Restart the monthly meetings of investigators from all agencies in the Tri-County to discuss crime trends and to share investigations started in December of 2021. As we know, criminals don't know where the county line is, so it's very important that we work with our surrounding agencies, and I think the sheriff does a great job of that. We have also, due to COVID, primarily implemented a video visitation system for our inmates in the jail during 2021. The sheriff's department, with their own people, applied for and received approximately $100,000 in various grants. Saw a 5% decrease in our crime rates, a 5% decrease in Part 1 crimes, and a 10% decrease in Part 2 crimes in 2021 and compared to the previous year. And our statistics for the rest of 21 have not been completed yet, but Part 1 crime includes homicides, rape, robberies, and aggravated assaults. Part 2 crime includes assaults, vehicle break-in, and damage to property. And of course, the sheriff's department has been very involved in the major addition and renovation to the detention center. I do hope, I see the sheriff is still with us, I do hope the citizens of Nash County have noticed a difference in the relationship between the Board of Commissioners and the sheriff's department this year. We have worked very hard to improve that relationship, and Quite frankly, the sheriff's probably going to disagree with me on this, but I think a big part of that is due to the fact that the sheriff and myself are both up for election this year. What do you think, Keith? No comment. Understand. I'm just kidding about that, but there has been a great improvement, and the sheriff and the Board of Commissioners, as well as staff, are doing much better in their relationships, and we're trying to do all we can for the Sheriff's Department and the citizens of Nash County. The Health Department, you can imagine the kind of year they had. I just really, quite frankly, don't know how to ramp up, how they were able to ramp up to do what they had to do during this past 3 years, quite frankly. But first shot, so we have give 54,894 fully vaccinated. We have 51,731, which is 55% of our residents. And the booster shot, we are currently sitting at about 27%. Our first large COVID-19 vaccination clinic in January of 2021 at Nash Central High School gave out 891 shots in one day. And any of y'all that happen to have attended that realized that we had a lot of work to do after that, and quite frankly, we did do quite a bit of work. And the second clinic, we had reduced the wait time down from about 4 or 5 hours down to 20 or 30 minutes maximum, and it's much shorter than that now. We established a call center to handle all calls regarding COVID activities for appointments and vaccination and testing. We also established a portal for pre-registration and appointments during the initial vaccination phase. We partnered with the community to conduct special clinics at locations in Samaria and also at Ebenezer Church in Rocky Mount. In May of 2021, we began conducting special vaccination clinics for 12 to 15-year-old groups. These activities were coordinated with the Nash County school systems, and then, of course, it moved on up to 18 years old as well. In 2021, we began providing a third shot Pfizer COVID booster to those that had certain conditions and needed the extra booster. And late in October, we began offering the other two kind of vaccines for those that are 65 and older. A 7-day per week COVID telephone call was established in the beginning, and that's where I mentioned we kept our citizens very informed by providing you with a teleconference that you can tune in on 7 days a week. We now do that 1 day a week on Tuesdays, and I believe it is at 3:30, Stacy, or 4:30, at 3:30. So we still invite you to join in, and you can get the latest of what has gone on with the COVID during that time. The other things that I would point out for the health department is the health department is fully accredited by the North Carolina Local Health Department Accreditation Board, and due to COVID-19, all health departments were given extensions for reaccreditation. Nash County reaccreditation next is scheduled for 2023. The health department received notice that it was in full compliance with all programmable requirements for our clinic programs. We are very pleased to report that in addition to providing all of COVID services, our staff has also been able to still provide the necessary services to all our clinical patients. We continue to experience increased activity in southern Nash County with subdivision developments and increased activities within our environmental health division. During 2021, environmental health issued a total of 508 septic tank permits as well as 276 well permits. Our environmental health division made a total of almost 1,400 food and lodging inspections, and in addition to that, went back and visited those throughout the year, a total of about 220 different visitations and 205 other visitations for whatever reason they may have been called to do that. The health department, in addition to those services, saw 7,632 patients during the last year. And these were the type of patients that would need maternity assistance, family planning, child communication disease clinics. Even with a very strong response to the COVID-19 pandemic, there were approximately 600 more patients that we saw in 2022. Our animal control division, which is also under our health department, as we spoke about earlier, has been fully involved in the process of planning for the new animal shelter, and we look forward to getting that. And in addition to that, under our health department is our landfill, and new landfill clearing and inert debris was constructed and approved by the state during the past year. We had to do a major addition to that, replacing the 20-year-old compactor at the landfill with a new used compactor, which Bill Hill is all about saving the county money. He was able to find a used one with very few hours on it and saved about $625,000 on that one piece of equipment. A trailer with a water tank and sprayer was purchased for the landfill in order to meet state dust control standards, and a very important item that I hope all the citizens will be glad that we're finally doing this, a new convenience center ID system. It will start in early 22. You hadn't got these yet, but these will be going out to all the citizens that pay for the convenience centers. You will be required to have that hanging in your car when you pull up to the convenience centers. And what we're trying to do is prevent any unauthorized use of our own convenience centers, because we were getting so many people from other counties using the services that we have built for Nash County. And of course, if you live in a municipality that does collections, you generally wouldn't have these cards because you don't pay that fee on your taxes like in Rocky Mount or Nashville and numerous other ones. But if a citizen so desires to purchase a card, they can do that. I don't have the cost right before me, but it's pretty minimal. But you can purchase that and you can still use the convenience centers if you so desire. So just keep in mind, by April the 1st, you will have to have that card to go to one of our convenience centers, and it will look very similar to what you see there. The last department that I wish to highlight very quickly is our department that handles many things, quite frankly. It is our EMS department, and I'll just go through a couple of highlights that I was given from our Nash County Emergency Services Department, which has many duties. EMS has received the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Plus Achievement Award for implementing specific quality improvement measures to treat patients who suffer severe heart attack, cardiac arrest, and strokes. And I know that says a lot, but if you're that person they come and pick up, I'm sure you would greatly appreciate that advanced training, and many times they have saved people's lives by knowing what to do before they get to the hospital. EMS was chosen to participate in the Race-Cars, which is an annual National Institute of Health and National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute sponsored by randomized trial focused on improving the care of patients without of hospital cardiac arrest in Nash County. Nash County EMS was selected due to its long history of clinical excellence. 911 phone calls during the year, we had 48,441. Administration phone calls to emergency services, we had 101,000 calls. Telephone calls total was 150,000. And these guys keep great records, because the data that they can produce for you kind of amazes me. But of those 150,000 calls, 99.3% of them were answered within 10 seconds. Pretty fascinating number. Dispatches, we had a total dispatch number throughout the year of 117,000. Nash Community College graduated 2 dispatch academies for us. This was a program we started a few years ago when we started needing our additional dispatchers in our 911 center, one of the most important jobs we have. 2 of our telecommunicators were recognized as hometown heroes, which is the award. Jessica Chamley got the WQDR hometown hero, and Jessica Cobb got the North Carolina Automobile Dealer Association hometown hero. We recertified all of our staff members with EMD, EFD, and EPD certifications. Total inspections completed during the year by our fire marshals was 1,258. Our total calls for service in that division was 135. I'm going to finish up pretty quickly and just say, after this great year and how we performed under very unusual circumstances, we're always going to have our challenges. The challenges that the board sees moving forward is, and it's not in order of priority, but it is in order of, it's just 5 things that we think are very important, and we have many other challenges. But the first thing on the list is the completion of the new land development code. We must get that completed this year. We have growth in the county that we've never dealt with before, and we just got to make sure we get it right. And to be able to legally require certain things, that code needs to be updated. We have 3 of our members on the Board of Commissioners on that committee, and we are committed, and we have 4 or 5 members of our planning board on there with us. So we are working hand in hand to get that done and to get it so we can prepare ourselves for this growth and make sure it's done correctly. Industrial recruitment, as I've already said, is extremely important to us, and it is always a challenge because of the competitive nature of it. We need to be looking at buying more land. We need to be looking at building more shell buildings, and we need to be open-minded about incentives that are good for Nash County. People do not like incentives, but I'm the one that least liked it the most. In my time on this board, I have learned if you're not willing to listen to the needs of industries that are beginning to move or beginning to expand and see what their needs are, you pretty much fall out of the game pretty quickly. But we do it in such a way that we make sure we get the best bang for our buck. So we do it with very stringent clawback agreements. We do not pay it up front. We pay it after a particular job is established and been in place for a while, or a certain investment has been done. So we do know that we are going to get what we say we are going to get. Always a challenge is our schools. The school budget, I think, is going to need to grow some moving forward, and our board will be working on that. We have looked after our schools, I think, very well. Our board is very interested in providing additional incentive for our teachers, or to move that amount up some. It's currently at 10%, which is good for Eastern North Carolina, but we are bordered by Wake County and Johnson County, who have a lot more tax base to work from, and to be competitive with those counties with our teachers, we like to put the money in the classrooms, and of course understand that this board can't dictate to the school board, and we don't try to do that. But we do try our best to work with them, particularly on capital needs and as well as teacher incentives, because we think that's where the money should go. We will always be, during this current year, we'll spend another year dealing with COVID, as we all know. We don't know what that will be, but I can assure you that our staff will be ready for the hand they are dealt, and through our health department with the leadership of Mr. Hill, I think they've done an excellent job and will continue to do an excellent job. And if you ever have any questions about COVID, please feel free to contact our health department, and I promise you, you'll get a person on the phone that is well prepared and educated to help you with any challenge you got. And then, quite frankly, the challenges change every day. So be patient with them, and they have had a very stressful year, but I'm amazed at how well they have kept the train on the track and are still dealing with it on a daily basis. And the other challenge that I see, and one that we've had for a while, is we need to continue to prepare our staff as well as our elected officials for any future retirements that we have. We've moved, particularly on staff, pretty well on that in the last year. We've got some staff members that have X number of years left with us, and we got to make sure we've got that person sitting there that's going to start the day that they retire and be ready to keep this county running in the same way it has always run. And in closing, I'd just like to say thanks, quite frankly. I want to say thanks to our board. Number one, they are very dedicated to the citizens of Nash County. We have had 28 public meetings in 2021, plus probably 100 or more committee meetings throughout the year. And for the public meetings, we have had 97% attendance rate by our board. We have 5 members that have had perfect attendance and been to every meeting. Mary Wells did miss 5 meetings there at the end, but I will tell you, I've never seen anybody put any more effort to get into a meeting that she committed herself to, and she was here many times that she probably just shouldn't have been here, quite frankly. And the only other person, Mr. Fred Belfield, had 1 excused absence, and quite frankly, you really can't count that an excused absence because he was at a NACO conference still representing Nash County at the time he was out for that 1 meeting. So we're going to give you a quarter of an absence rather than a whole absence, Mr. Belfield.
Should be perfect attendance. I was officially representing Nash County.
We will give you your certificate, sir, I promise you. Well said. And a big thanks goes out to our administration, our department heads, and all of our employees. Quite frankly, a greater team of 650 people do not exist in local government anywhere in the world, in our opinion. They make our job as elected official easy 99% of the time, quite frankly, and we thank them very much for everything they do. But the biggest thanks always goes out to our citizens of Nash County and our taxpayers. Without you, there would be nothing, quite frankly. And your 99.16% pay rate is strictly amazing. And we greatly appreciate the effort that you put forth in doing that. And I thank you on behalf of our Board of Commissioners for allowing me to give you this update. I thought it was some very positive information in there, even though the times we're in and what we're dealing with. And I would invite any board member, if you wish to say anything at this time, I would certainly give you a moment to do that. Anybody wish to say anything, or have I covered it pretty well?
I think you covered it pretty well. And I just say thanks to the citizens of Nash County for trusting us to take care of the county government's business.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Belfield. All right, if our board doesn't mind, I'd like to give our citizens a round of applause for what they have done for Nash County.